right, so hi everyone. My name is Brittany Brown. I am the creator and founder of the Binge Eating Blueprint, and we have Natalie with us today. Natalie, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk with you.
I am super
Awesome. So the point of this interview is just she had this amazing transformation in our program. Incredible, like life-changing in a very short span of time. And, you know, coming from a fitness background, a competition background, a strong passion in health and wellness, she's a really great example of showing how you can still live a very health-giving life and also free yourself from the chains of this up and down yo-yo dieting and binge eating and so forth. So Natalie, thank you. You know, I'd love to know just firsthand kind of like a glimpse into where you were before you started the program and then where you are now about like 2 months out of the program or so.
Sure thing. Yeah, so before the program, I had just finished competing in my second bikini competition. It had been something I'd wanted to do for years, and I was in fitness and dance and that whole lifestyle, and I had changed my diet to healthy eating probably about 5 or 6 years before that, and completely changed my life and my physique and all kinds of things. So I had set the bikini competing goal, and I did it for the first time in 2016, and then just this past May I had finished my second show. I was in an incredibly dark place. After my first show, I had gotten there and thought that I had gotten into a really ugly spiral of binge eating and restriction and binging and restriction, and I didn't see a way out. So after my first show, I thought that the only way I could combat it was to do another show. So just before my last show, about 4 weeks out, I started binging, and I wasn't able to stop. So I hit the stage and was nowhere near where I needed to be because I saw a whole lot of my progress diminish in the last few weeks leading up to the show, which only put me in a more negative space toward myself and my body and everything. At the same time, I was trying to launch a coaching career, helping bikini competitors get to stage and sharing my healthy lifestyle as a lifestyle and wellness coach. So at the same time, I was feeling like this horrible fraud, that I'm struggling with this thing and that I'll never get my business to launch because I was stuck. So I was really stuck. I was in a negative, dark place, and I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. We'll just say I was completely desperate. The day that I called Brittany, I thought, this is my only chance. What the hell? What do I have to lose? Let's see what I can do. Because I knew I was in a place where there was nothing left that I could do for myself to try and fix it. Now, fast forward, I guess 3 or 4 months later, 4 months later. So after going through the program, and I really felt the shift the first week. The very first week was the first time I didn't binge in weeks because it started 4 weeks before my competition. I think I called Brittany the day after the competition. I was just desperate to do something. And in that first week, I didn't binge all week. I was shocked that was even a possibility. And I remember being so scared going into the program because I still didn't really believe in myself, that I really thought I could do it. I wanted to believe it, but I still wasn't so sure. So to see that progress in the first week was the momentum that I needed to really push me to do it for the rest of the time. And I'll tell you now, I can't even describe in words the dichotomy of where I was when I started and where I am now. Where I am now, I have my first pilot group for my coaching up and running, and I feel on top of the world. I'm in a completely different place with my body, with myself. I am standing in my power, and I'm able to impact the lives of other women. And God only knows, the sky is the limit of where I'll be able to take my business because of what I learned in your program. So Brittany, I really can't thank you enough. And I'm just so grateful that I found your program and that I took that leap. I don't recognize where I was before now, other than to put myself back there to know that other women go through it and to be empathetic and to let those things find their way into the way that I coach with women, understanding what it takes and understanding that I've been there before, and putting myself back in that mindset for that reason. But otherwise, I don't recognize myself, honestly, in a good way.
Yeah. And sorry if I had my phone or my side muted, so that's any sound, because I wanted to make sure that the sound was clear. But that makes me so happy, Natalie. One thing I loved that create, and as you shifted yourself and stepped into your own power and so forth, that you would really go out and share your gifts with the world, which is like the mission under the mission, right? So I really love that. It was an honor to see you transform so quickly. So I'm curious, knowing where you came from, that really restrictive mindset, fitness competitions I competed too when I was younger. So coming from that and then like stepping into the program full force and really just shown a completely new way of approaching things. What was like your biggest takeaway of your journey that allowed you to shift, and then also that you like take with you today?
The number one thing was a mindset shift. So I had to go from thinking small and not being able to think outside of the situation that I was in. I felt very lost and confused and scared, and I didn't see a way out. So through the program, my mindset was shifted. All of the incredible work, the inner work that you guided us to do, all of the exercises and the journaling and the reflection, it took me to another place. So my mindset went from, what do I do? I can't see a way out, to, I have something to give this world. I have gifts that I've been given that this world will never see if I don't make this shift. And it became bigger than me. And I was able to focus on my whys, which went so much deeper than the physical, the physique, or the way that I physically felt in terms of health and wellness. It went so much farther beyond that to what I want to do in this world and what I want to give to the world and who I can be at my best self. And it took my focus from small to my best self. Who is that? And what does she look like? And how does she interact with the world? And now I'm living that. I am that person. And every day when I wake up, I think about what I want to give to the world and how I can give that to the world. And I couldn't even think about that before. So yeah. Oh no, I'm not hearing you.
I'm muted.
Oh,
sorry. Common mistake of mine. I'm like always muted when I start talking. Sorry. Bad habit. I'll be like talking to my family and click mute because it's just like such a habit. I'm here now. So yeah, Natalie, thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. And I love just like you stepping into you through the program. Ultimately, we do free you from this kind of, I think of it like a veil almost, like over us when we're looking at the world through the lens of struggling with binge eating, struggling with our bodies. We're in survival mode all the time. And it's like a low level, if there's a hierarchy of needs, you're at like the bottom, like just surviving, just feeling normal. And once you start like pulling off the veil of that, you get to step into all that you are. And I saw that for you very quickly because you were able to release your behavior with binging very fast when you came into the program. And so, yeah, that's just so incredible. So I love that sounds like a major perspective shift, really, more than anything. And really like stepping into who you are. Any like, as far as like the food goes in the beginning, or the what's the word? Yeah, like the shift with your body or with the actual food. What was like a takeaway in that department? Because I know through that you were able to step into all this that you're talking about.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, a big one, and I remember it being a fear going into the program or going into any, like when I thought about doing a program, I thought, well, they're going to make me eat all the things I don't want to eat. And that was my biggest fear, was so attached to the label of my lifestyle of I am paleo, right? As opposed to I choose to eat certain things and choose not to eat certain things because of different things. It was I am paleo. I was married to that, and it felt like a brand across my forehead. And even taking it to another level, when I was competing, I was keto and I basically took two very restrictive diets, combined them together, and did them both at full throttle. And then on top of that, counting calories, counting portions, and then restricting calories as I got close to the stage. So it was probably the most restrictive diet anybody could ever do on this earth, all at once. Beyond maybe a water fast or something. So what it did was it created a fear of carbs. It created a fear of anything that was off plan. And I didn't realize what a hold that had on me until I got into the program. But I remember it being something that I was afraid of. And I thought, well, they're just going to make me eat everything. And, I was leaning, I had a crutch. I was leaning on my gastrointestinal issues as a crutch of, well, I can't eat all those things because I'm not going to feel well. And I have this, I can't eat gluten and I can't eat sugar and I can't eat, and it was this, I can't. So the big, huge takeaway there is that I've basically removed I can't from my vocabulary, and learning that not choosing and eating under this particular restrictive diet or lifestyle does not mean I no longer have a choice. It doesn't take my choice away, right? So I remember one particular time when you had given us some really great resources and advice on, if you have issues with, digesting certain digestive issues and how to address those things. That was hugely powerful for me because it made me think instead of just about what I was eating, but about how I was eating. And, was I distracted? And just all of these things about the way I was eating and how much I was eating, right? So maybe half a donut won't make me feel the same way as eating 12 of them. It was like, wow, it was like one of those moments of what a concept. I could actually eat one or half of a donut. That's a choice. So just a perfect example today, walking into the office, I had a small breakfast, came to the office, there were donuts and there were cake and things. And I looked at it and I thought, I don't really want that right now. But I probably will want some after lunch. So let's just wait and see how I feel. And then after lunch, sure enough, I wanted to have some. And I had half a donut and a little small piece of cake. And even beyond that, I didn't feel great after eating it. But instead of doing what I would have done before and beating myself up over, now you don't feel well, look what you did to yourself, I never thought about this ugly self-talk I had during all of my binging until the program really made me focus on it. So a lot of the self-talk, a lot of the food rules, learning that, and we learned really about the food rules and some of the negative food patterns in the very first week. And I think that's the thing that made me stop the binging was, well, a couple of things. One was the commitment of, if I don't really commit to this, I'm not going to see any progress. So I had to go full throttle and go all the way in. So learning the concepts is one thing, but putting them, like really committing to putting them into practice made the difference. Because I still had some negative chatter in my brain going, well, do you really want to listen to what they're saying? Or do you really want to listen to that? It was really just my brain trying to tell me not to make the change I was trying to make. So the commitment of I really want to see this through and I want to be a different person at the end of this and I don't want to be stuck, pushed me to do it. But it was learning the concepts of really learning that I had a choice. I have a choice of the healthy things I choose to put in my body, and I have a choice if I want a not so healthy thing, and that's okay too. So yeah, it's amazing that now I'm maintaining my body weight without any problem, without any effort whatsoever, and I'm still eating donuts when I want to.
I love that. That's so awesome. And I love so much about what you said. I think a big distinction for people listening is there's a lot of fear, like when they see maybe YouTube videos or things, and I talk about survival mechanisms and releasing restriction. There's a lot of fear that this is going to be one of those programs where I'm like, okay, eat whatever you want, you know, eat all the foods you don't want. And it's not that we don't say that, but it's done in a way that reminds you that you have a choice, you know, to stop binge eating. You don't have to force yourself to eat donuts because they're at the office. Like, I want you to be able to honor you at the end of the day. And I think, you know, we do a fairly good job of like showing you that you can choose and you don't have to choose the donut. You don't have to choose the salad. Like, you get that choice moment by moment. And it does take commitment and follow through and like taking what you're learning and really implementing, which I know you did an amazing job on. So I'd love to like, it's such a great spinoff because I personally think that that's one of the, like, if I was telling someone how to get the most out of the program, right, that would be one of them. Like, yes, show up for the program itself, but like show up for the program, you know, implement, jump on a call. If you're having a struggle, like there's nothing that will come your way that we can't jump in and support you around. So I'd love to hear from you on the other end, you know, if you look back at your progress from the beginning till now, like, and you're talking to someone in the program who just started, you know, what is your kind of tip for them or a mindset they can take to just get the most out of it?
Absolutely. It's definitely 100% laser beam focus and commitment. And that is the number one underpinning of what I do with my coaching clients now. I do not let them, if you want the change, you have to commit, right? And one of the things we'll probably talk about later maybe, but the investment, right? So I invested in your program, not just my time, my finances, my energy. I really had to, and I was in such a negative place that my relationships were, I mean, everything in my life was negatively affected by my binges. So, and the place that I was in. So I thought, well, I can just continue on this perspective, on this trajectory, and everything will continue to suffer. Or I can say, okay, all of these things are already suffering. So why don't I take this time that I'm about to commit to this course, these next 8 weeks, and say, okay, you know, I need to spend the time on this, whether it's the first 30 minutes of my morning, whether it's stepping away at the office. There were many days on busy days at the office. I work in nonprofit, I'm 9 to 5, so it is nonstop. But there were days where I literally had to physically get up, change my surroundings, go sit somewhere else in another part of the office, another part of the building, or outside of the building, take my journal and sit down and just do the exercise. That was something I committed to myself on day one that I would do. Of course, there are days where I failed, but I'd say 90%, 95% of the time, I made myself commit to it. And it was the only thing. If I hadn't done the exercises, there's absolutely no way I would be where I am. I could see it happening day to day and week to week. On the days or the weeks where I wasn't doing the work, I could feel a difference. And I could feel the backsliding and my brain and my brain would have put me back in that negative place. So it has to be a commitment every single day to do the work, because there's just no other way.
So I am with you. And I love that. And one thing that I think is really powerful too is like from the repetition of doing the work, it actually, as you go on, starts getting easier and you don't have to do as much. Like right now in your everyday life, like you probably have the tools and the practices you can go back to, but you're not like in it quite so much because you start to actually get those shifts and like it shifts who you are. So I think that's so powerful. And I think it's even motivation too for women in the program or women coming in, that like, it does take that commitment, and it even takes commitment after the program, but things do lighten up and things do get easier after you do really pour yourself into it, which I think is really powerful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My
Cool.
favorite.
So, oh, sorry. There's a little lag on my part. So I think you're trying to talk again. So I'll let you talk. What did you say? I think you said your favorite part or your favorite book.
It's my favorite quote is your life changes when your habits change. And your whole program, it's about how we change our habits, right? Because it's easy to say that you can change, you have to change your habits to change your life, but it's in knowing how and actually doing the work that does change the habits. And so like the first concept that we learn is that we have that choice and that we can make that change. And then you basically walk us through step by step, holding our hands and showing us how. And it's exactly the same with committing to the work as it is with learning the concepts that you're learning throughout the program, right? So with food, changing our habits will become second nature, and eventually it's just a new habit. It's the same thing with committing to the work. If you haven't journaled every day for the last 30 something years of your life, as I hadn't, probably not since high school or college, I hadn't been journaling. I had to make it a commitment, and now it's a part of my life. And it's something that I've carried forward through my life since the program too, because I've learned how much growth I can have by doing that. But doing the exercises and making that commitment, that becomes a habit in and of itself, just like the food changes and every other change becomes a habit. And you don't have to fight so hard. At the beginning, you have to fight hard to make the time for the program. But by the end of the program, it's just a part of your life. It's a beautiful part of your life you can continue after as well.
Yeah, I love that. I do really feel like one big thing you did was just like it was work, and you just like set it up to where you could do it. Like you made the commitment, you did the time in your schedule, you left the office if you have to. And yeah, there's just ways to fit it in. And it's a lot, but it's really on the grand scheme of things, not that much if you're looking at like literally shifting your entire way of being with one of the biggest struggles of your life. It's a few hours a week or just a few minutes daily practice. It's not like for a week commitment or anything like that. So I just love that you're such a testament to fitting it in your life and making it happen while working full time and also launching an entrepreneurial business. I know from experience, that's a lot of time and work and energy. So yeah, just so proud of you. Okay, last question, I think, unless I come up with another one. There's a lot of women who, maybe follow on Instagram, catch a YouTube video, land on the website accidentally because they were Googling, or, they've tried so much, they've tried the diets, they've talked to coaches, they've tried the programs, and they're just like, they feel the pull, but they're reluctant, or they might not believe in themselves. Like, what would you say to those people that are kind of like on the fence or just getting to know us or nervous about jumping on the phone call or whatever that might be, just in regards to kind of taking that first step?
Oh my gosh, I'm the perfect person to ask that question to, because number one, I was one of those Googlers after my first show, and I found you and I got your emails, and I'd never called. And then basically fast forwarded 6 months after that, and I was in a more ugly and more desperate and more dark place than I was 6 months earlier. So part of me wishes I would have called 6 months earlier, because I would have gotten that relief then, and I would have launched my business. And let's, look at how much life will pass us by. And it's funny just that this question would come up now in my life, because I've been reflecting over something that I feel that happens in my life, and I think it happens in all of our lives, where there will be these energy shifts. For me, it happens maybe once every year or every 6 months, where a portal seems to open, where all of these opportunities are laid out for me to go to the next level in my life, whether that's spiritual growth, entrepreneurial growth, physical, whatever it is. And sometimes it's like all of them, love life, whatever. this portal seems to open, and I have an opportunity to jump through it and to make a real big shift and change. And a lot of the time I end up too scared to take that step, and the portal closes. And then another 6 months or a year goes by and it happens again. So it doesn't happen every week. It doesn't happen every month for me. And I'll look back and say, wow, look at how much farther I would have been had I made that choice. Now, I'm not going to beat myself up over not making that choice then, but I'm glad I did it when I finally did and did pull the trigger, because oh my gosh, look where I am now. And I can't even imagine where I'm going to be in another 6 months or a year when the next opportunity presents itself. And I'm not as scared to jump through it next time as I was the last time. But also the big thing, and the reason I say I'm the perfect person to ask, is that I remembered your emails. At some point I unsubscribed. And when I got the opportunity, oh good, that's not showing up on your side. When I got the opportunity, when I was in such a negative place and I really felt the need for a program or a coach or something, I called coaches, and I did get on the phone with other coaches. And I got on the phone with someone maybe a week before I called you, and it didn't feel right. It felt like a sales pitch. It didn't feel like it was about me. I felt like I was being convinced, or it just wasn't what I got with you. And I'm glad I had that experience first, because when I called you, there was no hesitation. I knew for sure. I felt I felt your genuine heart, your genuine care, your personal interaction that we got throughout the entire program. It's not what I felt from other coaches. So I would absolutely tell anybody who's thinking about it and who has found you. I am so grateful that something in my brain remembered you, because when I got off that call with the other coach, I felt very alone, and I felt very scared, because I thought that was my only opportunity. And I really didn't want to do it, but I was feeling like, well, maybe I'll do it, just because what am I going to do now? I'm all by myself. And I thought, wait a minute, there was a girl, there was a woman that I used to get her emails, and I just like Googled it, and luckily I found you again. And then as soon as you popped up, I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And I read your story, and it connected and it resonated with me. So I would say to anyone, if Brittany's story resonates with you, if you can relate to anything that she talks about, that she's been through, she's been there personally, there's a reason that she's doing this. She really genuinely cares. And she and her team, who are all amazing, amazing women, they're going to be there for you every step of the way. And this is not a sales gimmick. This is because she cares about your struggle and seeing you through. And you will get the best support and the best community you could find anywhere. I absolutely loved the women that I went through the program with, and we're still in touch, and we like message each other, and we are still supporting each other. And we're all in different places in our lives. So yeah, I mean, do it. There's no reason not to. It's 8 weeks of your life that will make a difference for the rest of your life.
Totally. Thank you, Natalie. That just touches my heart. And it's so nice to hear like that the care and support and like team is felt from there, because we're not in person. I can't hug you, so it's like, I mean, I can virtually and energetically hug you, but yeah, it's just nice to know that you feel that community that we've built and just like felt so supported in your process. That makes me happy. And thank you for everything you shared. I think people are going to find so much inspiration in this, specifically women who have came out of that fitness competition struggle. And even if you're listening to this and you haven't, just the diet binge cycle where you're trying to stick to something, you're trying to follow paleo, you're trying to heal your leaky gut, you're trying to handle your autoimmune, whatever that is. And like, you feel in your heart that you're trying to take care of your health, but you're still binging. And there's that whole thing, like, I know I need to be healthy. I know I'm hurting myself, but I'm still binging. And just like, there's hope, and I think in our program, we do a good job of showing you that it's like not you, and it's not this willpower problem, and it's not that you're defective and obsessed with food. you know, it's those physiological responses. And then that once you get through, returned back to you, which I think is so powerful. And I love seeing you in your power, Natalie. I can't wait to see what you do in your life and with your clients. I'm like so touched to have been on this journey with you. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. So much. Thank you for helping me find me. I am not a bikini competitor. I am not.
Yeah. Awesome.
I am me. And so you gave that back to me. And I thank you so much for that.
Oh, God, that touches my heart. And yes, you are you. I love seeing you show up like this. Yeah. You're so welcome.